Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So, I was thinking about something today that actually I think is really important. I don't think I've really talked about this and this doesn't just apply to software developers, but it applies pretty much to anyone about something that is going to improve the quality of your life, or something to consider when picking a place to live, when picking a job, and really in your career and in your life in general. And it's the small things. So what I mean by this is that oftentimes, and I've made this mistake in the past, we'll decide to do something based on what we think is important, sort of the bigger things, right? So maybe we'll take a job because it pays more money, or maybe we'll even move somewhere because we can get a job that pays maybe like 10K more, and that's a lot. Or we'll make some of these bigger decisions. We'll buy a house. Let's say that we buy a house because it's $50,000 less if we get in the suburb that's 30 miles away, or whatever it is. And those kind of bigger decisions are sometimes they're offset by the little things. So what I mean by this is, consider this. Right now, I've got, where I'm living in Pacific Beach here, I've got a dentist that is basically across the street from me, so I can walk to the dentist. Now, you don't go to the dentist every day, but that is a little thing that has a high value, because when you do have to go, you just walk on over there and you walk on back, and you don't have to do anything. Another small thing is just in the location where I'm at, everything is walkable, right? I can walk to the grocery store, I can walk down to the beach, I can walk down to my gym, I can walk pretty much anywhere that I want to go, which is really, really useful. It's really beneficial, right? You don't have to hop in a car. Now, that's what I'm doing now, right? I mean, I work from home. I'm an entrepreneur now. I don't clock in. I work for myself. But in your career, you might want to consider where you live, right? So one of the things that I've found that is really, really important for those of you that are working a 9-to-5 job and you're driving to work is the commute time, right? So I've definitely lived close and far. I think one of the first jobs that I had when I was living in Santa Monica, California, I was commuting to El Segundo, California, which isn't that far away. It's like 10 miles, but it's like an hour-long commute there and back. And even though the job was good, it sucked because 2 hours of my day was spent sitting in the car, and not just sitting in the car, but driving in traffic, which is annoying and frustrating and gets you aggravated, right? And you're losing 2 hours out of your day. So even though it was nice to live in Santa Monica, right? Because it would have been nicer, it probably would have been better if I would have lived closer and my life would have been enjoyable. That small thing, that thing that, seems so small, actually adds up so much over time. So it's these little tiny things that can make a huge difference. So the same thing you could even say, for example, if you're making the choice, I alluded to a house costing less or more money. That same principle could apply. A lot of people, let's say that you're buying a house and you buy a house you're looking at a house that's $200,000, or say $250,000, but it's close to work, but you can get $50,000 less, a house for $200,000, but it's further away. But you're going to save $50,000, and it's a bigger house and it's a nicer house. So I'm going to just go ahead and live in the suburbs, and I'll just add 20 minutes to my commute in order to save this 50 grand and have a bigger house. Well, that big decision seems like a good idea, but in the long run, it's the little things in life that are going to be more contributing to your happiness, because even though it's nicer to have to not spend the 50 grand and to have that little bit bigger house, you're going to drive to work every single day. And even if it's just 15 minutes more, that's 30 minutes a day. That's a lot of time. Being able to quickly get to work is really going to make a big difference in your life, right? I remember I lived one time when I took a job, when I got smart after this, I was living in Phoenix, right? And I got an apartment that was like a 3 or 4 minute drive from work. And the contrast from living in Santa Monica, where I was driving an hour each way, to now having a 3 to 4 minute commute, it was just awesome, right? It was so much more enjoyable to get in the car and then to be at work right away. And the times that I've lived in places where I could bike to work or I could walk to work, that's even better. So it's small things like that. And I harped on the idea of commuting, but there's a lot of other considerations to think about, even just the job itself, right? The difference, at the bigger scale, you might say, well, I should get the job that pays the most money. Well, that's not always true, because sometimes getting a job that's going to be more enjoyable because you're going to go and do that job every day makes a lot more sense, right? Because maybe you're going to make 10K less, but you're going to be a lot happier. So it's a lot of these small things in life that really add up, that make a huge difference. And the way to think about this is think about, sometimes we make these big decisions and we kind of gear our life towards these big decisions instead of thinking about the things that we do every day. Anytime you can do something, you can optimize or you can reduce the stress, reduce the load, make something easier or more enjoyable for you for something that you do every day or every week, it's going to make a huge difference in your life. And I've ended up on the wrong end of this so many times. I've made bad decisions where I've optimized for the large thing, right? And the small things have suffered, and those are the things that really matter in the end. So anyway, I just thought I would share this thought with you because, like I said, just seeing how easy it is to go to the dentist's office and not have to go drive somewhere, right? That makes such a difference. And just living here, I think in Pacific Beach, as I've moved here to San Diego, I've sort of realized that how nice it is to I paid a lot more money, but I have so much conveniences that it's totally worth it. I could have bought a house that's half the price, right? And lived out in the valley somewhere, or lived, in the suburb area, but I wouldn't have all of the conveniences that I do on a daily basis. It's these small things really add up over time. So, it's kind of the same idea of being, penny wise and pound foolish. You should really think about the things that are actually going to matter. What are you doing every day? What are the things that are going to make the biggest difference? And you can apply this to all different scales of your life, from what kind of computer that you buy, or laptop or monitor, or where you invest your money. That might seem like a small thing that's going to actually have a huge benefit to you. So anyway, that's it. I was trying to think of a few more examples. I couldn't really come up with a huge number. I think I've given you probably enough. I think, if you took anything from this video, the one thing I would say is just especially for you software developers just starting your career, commute time is super important. It's something that not a lot of people give a lot of thought to, but it makes a huge difference in the quality of your life. I promise you that this is something that you really want to think about. It's worth paying extra money. It's worth taking less money for a job, in my opinion, because this is something that you do every single day, twice a day. And so anything that you can do to optimize that or make that better is gonna pay off a lot in your life. And it's not just in enjoyment, but it's time, right? If you can get back 2 hours of your day, what can you do with those 2 hours? That's pretty important. There's a lot that you can do in 2 hours a day. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the point. Hopefully you got some value from this. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Oh, and if you're on a mobile device, you can hit the subscribe link down below. You can find that down below, or you can click through on the website. I know that the annotations don't necessarily appear here, or you might not be able to click the big subscribe button. All right, talk to you next time. Take care.